What up? What up? What up? What up? How everybody doing? This is my third video. I did my first and my second one. Number one was introduction. Number two was my journey to being a follower of Christ. So the introduction was just to get you, to understand that, this is what I'm going to do. Number two, my journey was just to give you just you know, outline of, what happened, in my life that got me to, Christ. It was just a brief, like Pastor Mario, you say synopsis or whatever, but uh, now I'm about to start giving you like stories and stuff, actual stories about like, the in between all that, you know, how all of it came together or whatever. And God's grace is a big part of that. So this right here is gonna be my first story of God's grace. And this goes back to my high school time when I was in high school or whatever. So I mentioned that in 2003 is when I first opened the Bible or whatever. But so when this happened, I did not know that it was God in the midst of this. Like it took some time for me to build my relationship with God and understand how God moved, for me to see that God was in the midst of all that the whole time. So now to give you a build up to it. So before I mentioned in my other video that I was raised in a single parent home. So my mom worked, and I used to be at home a lot by myself, and I ain't care about, when it came to school. I do schoolwork. I'll do schoolwork now, but I'll play too. I was playing, but I do schoolwork. But when it came to me going home, man, I'm not doing no homework. Like I did not care about that at all. I when I get home, I'm going straight outside, and I ain't had no type of authority figure that was like, hey, make sure you do your homework. Somebody that was gonna be on top of me, because like I said, my mom was working. So like I said, I'll be at home by myself, and I ain't want to be in that house. I was going outside, and I ain't really realized that. Like that was the main reason, but it was just my natural instinct was like, I'm about to go outside where people was at. And I used to, be outside, finding people and, just having fun outside, but I'm not doing homework. And what I realized is I was able to get by doing tests. If I do real good on my tests, I ain't have to do homework like that, or I ain't have to put a whole lot of effort into it. Like I can get there in the morning and try to write stuff in on my homework, you know, maybe pass, may not pass or whatever, but I still, if I do good on my test, I knew I'd get to the next grade. And that's how I got by, all throughout that was far as I went back was elementary, I can remember doing that. And middle school, same way. But when I got to high school, things change. One high school is a totally different environment. So I was totally having fun and doing whatever. But they start changing just the grading system. Uh, they start doing it to where homework played a big part of your overall grade. So if you failed like in your homework, like you 9 times out of 10, you're gonna, fail like overall because the percentage of your homework was like huge, and that they made it that way. And I remember that, I remember them, doing that, and I was like, man, I'm failing like I don't know what, and it's hard because I done went all this time doing it this way, and it's hard for me to try to change it up now. I'm in high school now, so it's hard for me to try to now put some effort into doing homework. And I remember like having teachers, like I remember Miss Burts. She was a math teacher, algebra. And I remember, she asked me the question. She was like, Chris, why are you doing so good on your homework? But I mean, not your homework, but doing so good on your test. But you failing on your homework. And I was like, I just don't like to do homework, And she was like, you gonna fail if you don't do your homework. Like you got to do good in your homework or whatever. You got to put some effort into it. And I was like, yeah, you know, but I can't do homework. So she was like, all right, if I give you all these homework that you didn't do in your class, would you sit here and do your homework? I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I end up passing because of that. So I appreciate Miss Burks for taking the time to think about me and stuff like that. But there was other folks, other teachers that was did not care at all. And they will fail you, and like that's just how it is. That's just how life is, and I don't hate people for that. I used to feel some type of way, but that's just part of life. It's needed. The good and the hurtful is needed or whatever. So I failed. I was failing in high school. It got up to my supposed to be junior year. I was a sophomore and I knew that I ain't have enough credits to go be a senior. Like I was about to fail again and be in a sophomore. And I remember the thoughts in my head. It was one thing, that I don't really talk about as much, and I don't care for using names, but I'm gonna use this person's name just in case he watched this video. But I remember I was like, I had a friend. His name is Newt, and he was like three grades behind me. And like in middle school, I didn't see him because we had 7th and 8th grade. So he was like in sixth grade when I was in 8th grade or whatever. So when I went to high school, that's when he went to middle school. So I ain't see him until he got up to his freshman year, and I was supposed to be a junior year. And I was like, man, I thought to myself, man, I'm not about to graduate with Nuke. There's no way. My pride kicked in, and I was like, no, there's no way. I'm gonna be talked about. Like, I started thinking about my friends that stayed back in middle school. How I used to like laugh at them, not too hard, but I used to have my little chuckles or whatever. And like I said, the pride kicked in because I had to eat that up or whatever. And I was like, no, man, like I'm not about to go through this. So in my mind, I was like, this what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna, quit. I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit, and that be it. And this right here, what made it a huge difference. I remember this in my heart. I remember, saying that, God, if you real, help me in this situation. You know, help me. I remember seeing that stuff, in the movies and stuff like that. So I thought, that it was a thought that was in my heart, like help me out, because I always seen folks in those movies get into situations and then, God help them out. So I said the same thing, never thought nothing else about it because I was so used to doing things on my own. But I remember that. I remember having that in my heart. I was at a place where I needed help or whatever. And we'll get into that, but that's how it is supposed to be. You got to be at a place where God can help you. And so I had me a plan. Oh, I forgot. So I tried other avenues. There was a school called Academic Success where they was known for helping people catch up to their right grade. You know, if you was pregnant, you was out of school, they can help you get back on the right path. If you stayed back a whole lot, or or whatever, back in middle school, you can go there in ninth grade year and they'll catch you on up. So I tried that. Everybody was like, you can't go there because you supposed to be in 11th grade, and it don't work that way. You had to be referred there. From the situations like being pregnant and stuff like that, or uh you had to come in your ninth grade year to help catch you up. So I ain't had no options. I couldn't go there, and I was like, dang, I don't got no options, so I'ma just quit. So I said I'm gonna give it my all. I'm gonna try to do my work. I'm gonna try my best and see if I can, get myself out of this. And if I can't, my supposed to be senior year, that following year, I'm gonna just go ahead and, quit and get my GED. So that was my plan, and I was on my best behavior. But guess what? A storm came through. From what I see, now that I'm looking back on it, a storm came through. So now let's go back. So my ninth grade year, I was in this lady class named Miss Huddleston. Uh, she was an English teacher, and I we I got in trouble. It was me, a guy named David Manuel that I knew, and it was a guy named I think his name was Covington. We got in trouble with Miss Huddleston, and back then they, for some reason, a lot of people thought I was on the football team. So she included, they was on the football team, I wasn't, but she thought I was on the football team, so she was like, "All right, I'm gonna get Coach Lindsay." Now, if you from Columbus, a lot of people know Coach Lindsay because he's a principal. To this day, I believe. And but back then in my ninth grade year, he was a coach. So she got Coach Lindsay, and she told him, and he came back later and he pulled us out of the class, and that was my first time ever meeting him. And he looked at me. He was like, "You on the football team?" I said, "Nah, I ain't on the football team." He was like, "Well, I can't do nothing with you." He said, "Go on back in the class." And he disciplined David and that guy. I think his name was Covington. I think he made them run. I ain't no thinking. I remember seeing them running hills with sleds. I was back there in horticulture class, and I remember hearing a little. Ting, 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 and I looked, and I seen them running them up the hill and down the hill, and I was like, man, he really done got them. They doing that because of what we got in trouble for. That could have been me, or whatever. So I'm just tripping like I don't, I was able to get by on that or whatever. So fast forward, he's an assistant principal now. So I don't know, he was on a mission or whatever at that year, and like stuff was just happening, man. Like crazy stuff was happening. It started off with what was the first thing? I think the first thing was Miss Chatterjee. Miss Chatterjee, I got in trouble with Miss Chatterjee, and she had me to stay over for what you call that, detention. And she didn't show up for detention. I showed up. Like I said, I'm trying to do everything the right way. I don't know the reason behind. I don't even. By that time, when you done built this dang status or whatever, you just known for it, so it's kind of hard for you to try to be good now. But I think even with that detention, that it was some junk, that was some fluke. But I showed up, trying to be good. I showed up. She wasn't there. It was a joint class where the other teacher, he was there, and when he seen all the students show up, he was like, y'all can stay. And I just let Miss Chatterjee know that y'all showed up. So y'all, won't get in trouble. So we stayed for detention or whatever, left. So I was in class the next day or day, after or whatever. Principal Lindsay, assistant principal Lindsay now, pulls me out of the class and he said, "Hey, I heard you didn't show up for detention." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, you didn't show up for Miss Chatterjee detention." And I said, "Yes, I did." I said, "I did show up." He said, "Why you lying to me?" Like he was all on me. And I was like, "Man, I did show up." And I said, "You can ask." And I think his name was Mr. Butts. I can't remember his name. But I told him, ask him, you know, I promise you I showed up. And like I said, you know that feeling when somebody is on top of you, they don't believe you, they after you. That's exactly how I felt. Like he was on to me. Like he was coming at me. And but I was like, man, I'm trying to, do right, why all this stuff going on. So he went back. He said, if I find out you're lying, I'm suspending you. Getting up out of here. I'm gonna get you on up out of here. And I said, go ask him, So he said, all right, I'll be back. So he went and asked him, came back, pulled me out of class. First time ever. He stuck his hand out. He said, hey, I just want to apologize. You was right. He gave me a handshake, and I said, "All right, appreciate it. Everything cool now, you know." Nah, still was on top of me. By this time they had a law, a little rule or whatever in school that you can't be at your lockers because they were having too many issues about people standing around these lockers. So if you can't hang around lockers. So if you're hanging around a locker that's not yours, they gonna tell you to move away from it. So I'm at my locker, and a bunch of my friends and stuff, folks would normally huddle up in that area. So he came by. He said, "Hey, y'all get away from them lockers. Stop hanging around them lockers." And he saw me. He said, "Especially you, Chris. Go on from the locker." And I said, "My locker right here." And because of how I was back in the days, everybody think, I'm joking around or whatever. Everybody started laughing. And you know what happened then? He turned back around after he heard everybody laughing. He said, "Go to my office." I said, man, like I wasn't even trying to play. It wasn't no joking matter. I was just being real. Like my locker is right here. Like I was at I was literally my locker was open. So I was, I'm trying to be the good person now. Like I ain't trying to get in trouble. I ain't trying to start no issues or whatever. Like I'm actually trying to be good now. And this stuff is happening. And I was just, I was like, when he said, I said, man, what? So I went to his office and he said, look, I'm looking at all your stuff. You don't even supposed to be at this school because by now I done moved to a whole nother area. I don't even supposed to be at this school. I'm supposed to be going to another school, but I wanted to stay at the school that, I started with. And, he was like, your grades bad. He was like, you know, I'm telling you, I'm going to get you on up out of here. You ain't trying, this and that, blah, 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 and this and that. And I was like, man, I'm actually trying. Like, I'm trying to do better. I'm trying. He was like, no, if I if you come to my office one more time, I'm getting you up out of here. So I was like, man, I can't win with this guy. This guy is on top of me. He is trying to get me up out of here. And like I said, you know that feeling. When somebody is coming at you, man, it's like you know what's going on. Like this person is attacking you. You know what I mean? Like this person is on me. Like and I just was like, I didn't want to go to Kendrick because I knew, if I go to Kendrick, folks know. Like, Kendrick was actually in the area where I, like, my neighborhood, like, it was in my area. Shaw, where I was going, was way, like, on the north side. So it was like mixed. Like my neighborhood had to go to Shaw, but it was mixed with other people and stuff. Like that wasn't from our area. But Kendrick was East Side. And I had family there, like it was like a hood school, you know. They used to call it East Side High, you know. And I knew like if I go to Kendrick, man, I wasn't going, you know, party. I wasn't going to try to do right, you know, cuz I got cousins there. They ain't trying to do right, to be honest with you. So I was like, I ain't, you know, I'm about to just have fun over there. So I was like, I ain't want to go there because I'm trying to, you know, graduate. I'm trying to, it ain't gonna help me out. So I told him, I said, man, I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to stay. I want to, you know, I'm trying to do right. And like, nah, if you come to my office again, I'm getting you up out of here. So I went back and I told my mom, I was like, man, you know, I felt defeated. I was like, Mom, I think you need to get me out of, you know, the school, you know, because one, I ain't want him to kick me out, get suspended and stuff, and then your grades and stuff get messed up because you out of school for so long. So I told her, I was like, hey, Mom, I got this teacher, this principal after me, this and that, blah blah blah. He trying to get me up out of here, and you know, I think you need to just go ahead and transfer me. And she was like, you know, don't worry about it, this and that. She kind of brushed it off or whatever, and I was like, no, Mom, I'm trying to tell you, trying to get me up out of here, and she just brushed it off. And then this is so crazy. So everybody know, you know, if you a person that, you know, in school you ain't doing good, you might not be doing good in English, you might not be doing good in math, but you guaranteed to pass in PE. You know, PE back then, you know, I was a street kid. I love PE. I love to be playing and, you know, doing sports. I excel in that stuff because I'm having fun. And you know, they was easygoing people that was in our PE class. The teachers and stuff, the coaches, they were cool people. But I don't, like I said, this was some crazy stuff, bizarre stuff that was happening. So what ended up happening was I was in PE class. I had like some friends in there. On this particular day, I sprained my ankle or something, and we was doing like basketball drills and stuff. And you know how they do? They I forgot the name of the game. Uh, if I can think of it, you know, I'll show it on the screen or whatever. But it's when you pass the ball to each other and you go side, you know, you sidestepping and passing the ball, and you know they tell you to pair up. So my homeboy was like, "All right, man, you pairing up." I was like, "Nah," cause I already know, you know. And he was like, "Nah, you come with me." I was like, "Man, all right, man, just if we if we do this, man, just know my ankle messed up, you know." And he's like, "No, I ain't taking it easy on you, cause you ain't gonna take it easy on me." So it's like all this stuff that I did in the past is backfiring on me. So we get to, you know, doing the drill, and I can't keep up with him cause my ankle messed up. And I mean, it was just something simple like I missed the ball, and the ball rolled down the court or whatever. And I think her name was Miss Ball. Miss Ball blew the whistle. Hey, y'all playing too much. Go to the office. And I said, what? Like, I could not believe I heard that came out her mouth. All I can think of was Coach Lindsay or Principal Lindsay. If you show up to my office again, I'm getting you up out of here. And I was like, Miss, this is my first time ever. Like, I came to Miss Ball. I said, Miss Ball, please. Please do not send me to the office. I'm not playing. You know, my ankle hurt. He passed the ball to me. I missed it. She was like, nope. Y'all go to the office. I ain't playing with you. And I could not believe it. You know, no warning, no nothing. She just sent us to the office. She never did that ever. The 3 years I've been there, she ain't never raised a voice at me, nothing. I ain't never had no issue with her, but that day she just automatically for something small just told me to go to the office. Got to the office and you already know what it was. Got me on up out of there or whatever. So I ended up going to Kendrick. Now this is the thing about it. I ended up going to Kendrick and I knew like, you know, this was it. You know, this is the end of it. I might as well go ahead and get ready to drop on out or whatever. Because when I come here, I ain't nothing about to happen over here. But I was surprised. What ended up happening was I went to Kendrick. They match you up with a counselor, and the counselor was looking at over my profile or my stuff, and she was like, "I noticed you're failing and stuff like that. You're behind, and I'm trying to figure out, what's going on." And I was like, "Man," by this time I knew fully what was going on, and I said, "I can do tests. I just can't do homework. I don't like doing homework or whatever." But it's like I know the work. I know the stuff. I'm not dumb. Like I know how to, all this stuff is just I can't do the homework. And she was like, "All right, well they got this program at Academic Success." And remember, I said talked about Academic Success, how I tried to get there before. And she was like, "There's a program at Academic Success where all you have to do is take all the tests and show that you know the work, like the Georgia high school test, all the other tests to show that you know this stuff, and you can test on out and graduate your right year." And I couldn't believe it. She was like, "All you gotta do is just write this um like a proposal or something like that, where you wanna where you're trying to uh show them or tell them that you are need to be accepted to the program or whatever." And I did that, but I wrote, "This was my opportunity for a chance, a second chance in life or whatever." And I did that, man. I went on ahead and I wrote that or whatever. And my cousin, he was at the same school, he did the same thing. And me and him ended up getting into the program, and I ended up graduating my right year. But none of that stuff wouldn't even happen if I wouldn't have never got kicked out of Shaw and went to Kendrick. And that's the crazy thing about it. Like I ain't never think about it. I was like, I was just surprised. And even when I went to Kendrick, I still did all the stuff. I still had fun. I ain't, and I ended up going to Academic Success, and I tested out, showed I knew everything, and I graduated, man. I end up you know, that end up taking me on to other things. Like I end up joining the military. So um God God was in that. And the reason why I say God was in that is because one, that prayer opened up the door for God to move in. Now, what what people have to realize is you got to be in a place where you allow God to, you know what I mean? You got to be open to allowing God to move in your life, because we don't. We be at a closed place where we ain't trying to be open to it. But I was there. I was at an open place, so God was able to move. And I looked at it where I was seeing all that bad stuff happening with Coach Lindsey doing all that stuff. That's part of life. That's just like with Job, where then the devil came in and just started destroying everything. Like that's just part of it. God had to come into, God had to come into your life, and the stuff that you done built, like that stuff, God got to rip out of there. Like I was supposed to go to Kendra anyway, to be honest with you. Like I said, I moved to a whole nother place that I ain't want to move to, and I ain't want to go to Kendrick. I wanted to stay at Shaw or whatever. So who knows, if I would have just went on ahead and went to Shaw, I mean went to Kendrick, I probably would have, knew about the program earlier. But to be honest with you, I felt like all that stuff happened for a reason or whatever. Like God designed all that stuff because He knew that I was gonna be stubborn and I wasn't gonna want to go to Kendrick and stuff like that. So all that stuff happened for a reason. But God, like I said, a lot of time people see all the bad stuff happening in their life, not thinking that this is an opportunity, for God to really start moving in your life. or whatever. And that's what actually happened was God moved in my life, and I went to Kendrick, a school that was considered the worst of the worst, whatever, for real. And I ended up graduating because of that, and a lot of other stuff, that comes with it, the fact that, God doesn't just bless one, the whole purpose is to bless, two or more, like when that happened in my life, my cousin ended up coming with me, you know what I mean? And he ended up graduating, he ended up going to the military, you know? Like that's how God moved, like when Abraham left, when God told Abraham to leave, he ended up taking Lot with him. You know what I mean? Like that's just how God be moving, man. God, Jesus had the disciples with him. Like there's always when God is working with someone, He always has somebody that's gonna get blessed. That's gonna be like a witness. Cause my nobody else might know my situation, but I promise you, my cousin knows the full detail because he was with me that whole time, you know. So he's my witness to that situation that happened in my life where I end up going to academic success and I end up graduating. And it wasn't even peaches and cream with that. I had people try certain things, tempt me to knock me on off, but I was so head focused because I knew this was my second chance at life that I ain't let that junk sway me or whatever. And like I said, I ended up going to the military. That's going to the military changed my life. And the same with him. We never thought about going to the military. I ain't never thought about not one time. But when you get a second chance at life, it make you consider some things. And like I said, I was open. Like God, that situation opened me up to where I was open to certain things. Now I ain't gonna say that it was peaches and creams after that. Like I said, I don't fail plenty of times or whatever. But the whole point is, God's grace, God, God, God helped me in that situation to where who knows where I would be now if none of that happened or whatever. Who knows? And I didn't deserve it. To be honest with you, I did not deserve it. It was just I was in a place where, you know, I was vulnerable and God came in and he moved or whatever. And like, in some situation the grace could be, I was still stubborn and God still helped me out, but I just look at it like, man, I ain't really deserve it. I screwed up or whatever, but God still, helped me out. And I'm thankful for that. Like I said, I didn't know that it was God. I just seen that I had a second chance at life, but when I, read the Bible, when I started reading the Bible and seeing how God moved, God was showing me how He was in all that situation. Everything, like I said, Coach Lindsey was a storm. He was the one that came and, kicked me on up out of there, and it was a blessing in disguise. Like I said, the same way with Lot and the devil. A lot of people be like, oh man, why would God allow all that stuff to happen? But it's beauty on the outside of that. At the end of it, it's beauty. If we able to withstand the whole thing, there's beauty on the other side of it or whatever. So don't get yourself caught up in all the bad stuff that was happening. You know, because like I said, God moved in a different way. And like I said, in that situation, the way I look at it, and the way God was explaining to me is, we build things up, you know, we build things our way. And in order for God to move, He had to get rid of all that. And then it's going to be His way so He can be glorified. Because if it was all our way, then we'll be glorified for what we built. But it get destroyed to where we're humble because we ain't, I'm looking at it like, I don't know what to do now. And then God moves in and he's in the forefront of it all. Because I look at it like I didn't do none of this. There was some power beyond me. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew that that wasn't me when I was going through what I was going through. I had somebody tell me, man, uh, I don't know what's going on. Uh, I'm gonna tell you exactly how he said it. He was like, Chris, he stopped me in the street just after I done joined the military and everything. He was like, Chris, out of all the people in this neighborhood, I just showed and think it would be you that would have got yourself together. But he said, whatever it is that got you on this path, man, keep on at it. Because you done did a whole 360 and I'm proud of you. He said that to me. I never heard him say nothing to me like that before in my life. Never. But he said that to me. He stopped me and told me that. And yeah, man. You know, in my eyes, I was like, I don't know what you talking about, but man, I don't know what's going on either, but I'm gonna keep on going. And like I said, I started reading the Bible and I seen it was God. So I'm thankful for it. All right. That's my story. God's grace when I was in high school. And that's it, man. I hope that in this video there's somebody that's encouraged, someone that's enlightened, that that probably went through some of the same thing or a similar story, that realized, hey, that it was God in my life, or this is God. Some type of revelation or whatever. And if it is, man, share it, man. Leave a comment, and talk about it, you know. And don't be afraid to share it with other people, man, because it's other folks going through the same thing, and disencourage people when they're going through that storm, to keep going, because you need that. Sometimes it don't seem like uh there's a light on the outside, but it is on the other side. So encourage one another, and like I said, I pray that this touches someone, and God be glorified because of it. All right. Love you. Have a great day. Appreciate it.